What is currently known about Putin's demands and proposals?
What we know so far about Putin's demands and proposals. It has been 2 days since the Alaska summit, and while no official statements have been made, media outlets appear to have outlined the main points of Russia's position. Reports suggest that Vladimir Putin is demanding Ukraine hand over Donbass, recognize Crimea as part of Russia, and agree to the lifting of at least some sanctions. In return, Moscow is prepared to withdraw from occupied parts of Sumy and Kharkiv regions. According to Bloomberg sources, U.S. President Donald Trump told Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders in follow-up calls that Putin is insisting on a full withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from Donbass, specifically Donetsk and Luhansk. Russia, notably, is no longer pressing for territory in Zaporizhia and Kherson that it does not already control. Financial Times reports that Putin made it clear during the negotiations that Ukraine's surrender of Donbas is one of his core demands. If that is accepted, he is willing to freeze the rest of the front line as it stands, leaving parts of Kherson and Zaporizhia under Russian control. At the same time, sources told FT that Putin is not giving up his broader strategic demand to address the root causes of the conflict, including NATO's eastward expansion. Putin also demanded the lifting of some sanctions and formal recognition of Crimea as Russian territory. Reuters notes it remains unclear whether this recognition would have to come only from the United States or also from European states and Ukraine itself. Sources told Reuters that Putin expects at least partial sanctions relief, though it isn't specified when Putin positioning includes the Ukraine to pull out of Donetsk and Luhansk in exchange for Moscow agreeing to freeze the front line in Zaporizhia and Kherson. The Russian president is also said to be ready to return territory captured in northern Sumy and northeastern Kharkiv. Independent monitoring project Deep State estimates Russia currently holds around 440 square kilometers in Sumy and Kharkiv, while Ukraine controls approximately 6,600 square kilometers in Donbass. In addition, during the summit, Putin reportedly demanded that Ukraine grant official status to the Russian language and allow the Russian Orthodox Church, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church under the Moscow Patriarchate, to operate freely. After the talks, Donald Trump told Fox News that everything now depends on President Zelensky. While he did not disclose details, it is widely believed he was referring to territorial concessions. According to FT, Trump emphasized in calls with Zelensky and European leaders that Ukraine must make its own sovereign decisions regarding its territory. Zelensky, for his part, had recently stated after a meeting with developer Stephen Witkoff that Ukrainians will not gift their land to an invader. After the Anchorage summit, however, he avoided addressing the issue directly. Still, according to Reuters, Zelensky rejected the idea of ceding Donbass in exchange for a frozen front line during a private call with Trump. FT also reports that Trump urged Zelensky and European leaders to stop demanding an immediate ceasefire from Moscow. This is a shift in tone. Before the summit, Trump had warned that he would not be satisfied if the Alaska talks failed to bring about a ceasefire, threatening serious consequences. Afterward, he aligned himself with Putin's position, stressing the need for a peace agreement rather than what he called temporary truces that often collapse. CNN journalist Claire Sebastian suggested this change in rhetoric plays into Putin's hands, allowing Russia to continue military operations while still engaging in negotiations. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev reinforced this interpretation, calling one of the summit's key outcomes the fact that talks could proceed without preconditions and alongside the ongoing special military operation. Meanwhile, European leaders who spoke with Trump said the U.S. and its allies are ready to provide Ukraine with security guarantees. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni described this as the most interesting development from Anchorage, saying the idea is inspired by NATO's Article 5, but would function outside NATO's framework. According to Meloni, the proposed guarantees would ensure that if Ukraine were attacked again, it would receive support from its partners, including the United States. An EU official, speaking anonymously to CNN, clarified that NATO itself would not directly participate in such guarantees. AFP, citing diplomatic sources, reported that this Article 5 style but non-NATO framework had been roughly agreed with Putin. Ukrainian media outlet Ukrainska Pravda cited similar claims from anonymous sources. Ukrainian President Zelensky is scheduled to meet Donald Trump in Washington on August 18th. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has confirmed she will travel to the U.S. alongside Zelensky, and French President Emmanuel Macron is also expected to join. According to one European official, Trump left the Anchorage summit believing Putin was open to a three-way meeting. However, Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov told reporters that no such idea had been raised during the talks. On Saturday evening, Zelensky warned that Russia was preparing to intensify strikes on Ukrainian positions in the coming days to strengthen its bargaining position in negotiations. He said Ukrainian forces were making progress in one of the toughest areas near Dobropilya and Pokrovsk in Donetsk. Earlier in August, reports had emerged that Russian forces had broken through parts of Ukraine's defenses northeast of Pokrovsk.
Thank you for your attention. To be the first to know about the latest news, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts in the comments, and give us a like.